In this video, we're going to be interpreting a quadratic function. In 1, it says, a projectile is thrown upward with an initial velocity of 32 feet per second. After t seconds, its height above the ground is given by h of t is equal to negative 16t squared plus 32t. In A, they want us to write the function in vertex form. So to write this in vertex form, we first need to find h and k. So h is equal to negative b over 2a, which is equal to negative 32 divided by 2 times negative 16, which is equal to 1. And to find k, we're going to evaluate h at 1, which is equal to negative 16 times 1 squared plus 32 times 1, which is equal to 16. So our vertex is 1, 16. And in vertex form, we're going to have h of t is equal to negative 16 times x minus 1 squared plus 16. And in B, they want to know what is the projectile's maximum height. And the maximum height is the y-coordinate of the vertex, which was 16, so we can say 16 feet. And then they ask, when does the maximum height occur? And when the maximum height occurs is the x-coordinate of the vertex, which was 1, so 1 second. And in C, they want to know how many seconds after it is thrown will the projectile hit the ground. And to find when the projectile hit the ground, we need to know the x-intercepts. So we're going to set h equal to 0. So we're going to have 0 is equal to negative 16t squared plus 32t, which we can factor to 0 is equal to negative 16t times t minus 2. So t is equal to 0 and t is equal to 2. And we threw the projectile at time 0, so it hits the ground at t is equal to 2, or 2 seconds. And now in D, they want us to sketch the function. And we can see that we have 0, 0, which is when we threw the projectile. Our vertex was 1, 16. So the maximum height was 16 feet at time 1 second. And then our other x-intercept was 2, 0. And the projectile hit the ground 2 seconds after being thrown. In 2, it says a projectile is thrown upward with an initial velocity of 32 feet per second. After t seconds, its height above the ground is given by h of t is equal to negative 16t squared plus 32t plus 48. And in A, they want us to write the function in vertex form. So we're going to have h is equal to negative b over 2a, which is equal to negative 32 divided by 2 times negative 16, which is equal to 1. And now we're going to find k, and k is equal to h of 1, which is equal to negative 16 times 1 squared plus 32 times 1 plus 48, and this is equal to 64. So our vertex is 1, 64. So in vertex form, h of t is equal to negative 16 times t minus 1 squared plus 64. And in B, they ask, what is the projectile's maximum height? And our maximum height is 64 feet. And then when is the maximum height reached? The maximum height is reached 1 second after thrown. And in C, it says, how many seconds after it is thrown will the projectile hit the ground? And the projectile will hit the ground when h is equal to 0. So we're going to have 0 is equal to negative 16 t squared plus 32t plus 48. And then we have 0 is equal to, and I'm going to factor out a negative 16. So I have negative 16 times t squared minus 2t minus 3. So now 0 is equal to negative 16 times t minus 3 times t plus 1. So our projectile hits the ground at 3 seconds. And now we want to look at a sketch of the function. And we can see that our y-coordinate was 0, 48 because we threw the projectile from 48 feet above ground level. And our vertex was at 164. So our maximum height was 64, and it occurred 1 second after the projectile was thrown. And then our x-intercept was 30. So our projectile hit the ground 3 seconds after it was thrown. And that's all for this video on interpreting a quadratic function.